Hewlett, David Hewlett, one of my favorite photos of my kid is that. He just found a frame on the side of the road, decided to make himself a picture. So this is my Burn&Learn. It's late. I know it's late, but we've been having these wonderful late mornings. And well, I have been. Jane's been getting up. I've been quite enjoying sleeping in and just feeling like I'm not doing anything. But lots of fun little sort of, as my dad would call it, clipping and clopping. This is a Burn&Learn. This is my bit to stay alive and fit long enough to enjoy my retirement years with my fabulous family, my fabulous son, Sebastian, who just makes me laugh so freaking hard. Love that kid. And my fabulous, gorgeous, brilliant wife, Jane. And yeah, I don't feel like I'm getting any fitter. Still, I guess I'm still doing my 6.8 kilometers of rowing on the torture device. How's our sound going? I think I've got that all sorted out. I think I've fallen into the right habit for this. Wow, look at that. There's people in here already. Look at that. Mizojat, how are you? Sky, it looks like a little One Piece thing. Sky, hello. Claire, hello. What else we got here? Highness Angus, I've been waiting to catch HR beginning if you're stream. What? I've been waiting to catch her beginning if you're got it. No idea what you're saying, but hello. Hello, Psycho Liz. Hello, Mandy. Hello, Virus 464. We got Claire, Cameron, and Nate, and JC Slicer, and Sky, and Zorak. Holy crap, there's a lot of people out there. David Winslow, how are you? So yeah, Burn&Learn. What have I got to tell you? So I hate the exercise part, so I like to learn something while I'm doing it. And today I just stumbled onto this. I thought it was an article. It looks like it's a book, but it's called Breakneck, and it's about America and China's technological future. Basically, how China is trying to sort of invent itself as as a technological power, trying to create a place in the world for itself as a technological power. And it's just, I mean, I've always been a bit obsessed with China and our relationship to it. But he put it in this wonderful way. Sorry for yawning. It's late. Did I mention it was late? It's after 8. It's almost my bedtime. He put it in a really good way, I thought, because I've always had a hard time explaining the differences between how I feel the difference between America and China is, and I say this as an American as well as a Canadian as well as a Brit, but currently living in Canada, as it turns out. So, anyways, I love this description. They said that China was an engineering government. It was a government made up of engineers. In fact, to such an extent that it's Politburo, I think it's called. They're sort of the group that can come up with the politics, basically, the only ones who are allowed to input on this stuff. I think they're all engineers now, or something very, very high number of engineers, while our American society is a lawyerly one. And I thought that was fascinating. And the majority of presidents have law degrees. The only two that sort of jumped out were Carter and someone else. Someone else was also a oh God, was it? Who was it? Who did it be? Can someone tell me? Does someone know? Lawyers and career politicians. Yeah. Well, so basically lawyers is the point. Who would it be? 8 p.m. ain't late. It's 1 a.m. there. Well, good for you, Nixie. I'm glad you're still up. Oh, wow. The Car Wars channel. Hey, Car Wars channel. How you doing? How's your YouTube been going? Hope you're well. You probably don't. I do remember you. You have. If anyone hasn't checked the Car Wash channel out before, there's something mesmerizing about it. This gentleman will go and actually just basically film a car wash experience, and his knowledge of them is extraordinary. So yeah, definitely a fun thing to check out. Yeah, of course I remember you. Thank you very much. And you don't have to pay me to remember you, just so you know that. Thank you. David remembers all. I remember nothing. I'm terrible. But there are things that stick out for me. Usually if they're curiosity based, they're things that I remember. Wow, 2 a.m. for Flofha in Austria. Oh, it's got to be kind of cool though. 2 a.m. in Austria, it'd be kind of fun. Anyway, so America, lawyerly, China, engineering. And as a result, we seem to be living in a time in America where there's just a lot of walls being put up to the building of things. Where we're basically looking for any excuse to say no from a legal standpoint to things, because people have got burned in the past, with pollution and rapid development and expansion and corporations and stuff. So people have sort of, their response to that is to sort of lawyer up and to sort of try to stop this stuff from happening. Whereas China, who really has no input other than the Politburo, which which is just fascinating to me. They can basically just make decisions, good or bad, that will have massive effects on huge amounts of people without really any stopgaps in place. So it's really neat. And this guy, I can't remember the guy's name. I'm scared of hanging up on you while I do this, so I won't look him up. But it's David Yang, I think it is, something like that. He's I think Canadian and Chinese and American, lived in all three, spent a lot of time in China doing sort of financial related stuff, and just trying to get a handle on how China works for people who want to invest in it. And he just talks about how, they make they have the power to make decisions that aren't sort of possible in America, even compared to the stuff that Trump seems to be capable of doing. And that, again, there's this lack of the individual, the requirement to worry about what the individual has to say about this stuff. So they can bring in these amazingly sweeping things. They can move in, they can take entire populations and move them where they want them. They can build high-speed rails and not worry about whether they have the money to pay for it or not. I mean, it's just, it's kind of extraordinary. And there's definitely, one of the things that I thought was really interesting that this author talks about is they're very similar. Americans and the Chinese have very similar, approaches to things. They're very, they tend to be sort of move fast and break things. They, tend to sort of overdo things and underdo things. They tend to sort of want to move ahead and not necessarily look after things in the past as well. I mean, I'm sort of paraphrasing, and I'm, as I say, I'm also tired. So, but just I thought it was really interesting that there were very, very distinct similarities between the two that he was pointing out, as well as these obviously completely diametrically opposed political opinions. Although the funny thing is that, as we in America seem to be moving more towards an authoritarian approach to the government, certainly in the last little while, we consider ourselves, they consider themselves a right-wing government. The reality is, the Chinese government claimed to be, obviously, left to the point of communism, but the reality is they're the kind of right wing that I think some right wing Americans would love to be able to do. Here we go. It's just the car wash channel again. My tube is good, keeping me busy, working a lot. Worked 107 hours last pay. Super exhausted, so I haven't had time to do a video. But life is good. Oh, good to hear it, car wash. I look forward to seeing some more of your videos. And as I say, if anyone wants to check them out, I'm going to pop that up on the screen so you can see the name and make sure you check them out, because there's some really, really fun stuff there. I think where did we run into each other? We ran into each other on. It must have been on Tech Talk, I guess, right? Is that right, Car Wash? I think it was what it was. Anyways, just fascinating stuff. Well, they can also build high-speed rail all over top of people's homes, regardless of whether the people allow it or not. Exactly, Ms. Ozad. That's the point. That is the point. They don't have to. They can basically do whatever they want and run roughshod over whatever the individual has. They don't have to worry about that. And obviously that's not something that we want. But at the same time, we also have to be aware that this is how it works. They've created more solar and wind power than the rest of the world put together in the last little while. I mean, it's extraordinary, the kind of expansion of power that they have. I mean, we're still talking about maybe bringing back nuclear. I mean, I love this idea of a bunch of lawyers standing around arguing why you can't do something, compared to a bunch of engineers going like, why aren't we building this faster? It's just a really interesting sort of dichotomy. Is that what it is? Is that the word? JODD6ian, I'm very happy to see you too. Thank you very much. I'm always surprised that people come and join me for these miserable, sweaty, sweaty chats. This is, I mean, what's so funny is I really started doing these just for myself. I did this to guilt myself into doing it. My son was good enough to guilt me into it yesterday. We did a bunch of Pokemon cards. I've got my little scanning set up, and I've got the iPad out, and I scan the cards now, so I know what cards we have, which is kind of fun. Although I'm having a really hard time scanning the One Piece cards. Apparently, the One Piece cards, their database may not be as up to date. It's the TCG player thing I'm using. So it may not be as good at picking it up. Certainly the Riftbound stuff was amazing. It picks it up really quickly. Of course, the other advantage is the Riftbound only has like 1 or 2 different editions anyways, right? So whereas One Piece has many. God, I can't believe how expensive those collector's cards have got, for that matter. Like just how insanely the prices have jumped since we've got into it. Can you please one day write a book on leadership? Maybe people would listen. Then I'm so sick of my government down here in Western New York trying to stay warm. Yeah, it's been pretty miserable weather too, isn't it? I mean, I do feel like we've hit a point here. I mean, again, I'm in Canada, so I've got a whole different perspective on it. But you know, I also have to keep reminding myself that I'm also American, and that, you know, I fought to become an American. I was like, you know, I spent time and money and effort to make that happen, and I, you know, I'm proud of it. I'm like, I do want to be American. I think that was an accomplishment that, you know, I managed to make happen because of my acting, and I thought that's fantastic. But I am really dismayed at the way things have gone the last little while. You know, and I don't mean just the you know, the big orange pumpkin. You know, even before that, I was struggling with these sort of career politicians and these old men who just cannot relinquish power, just don't know how to give it up. I mean, it's not just men too. I mean, there was a number of, you know, even on the, you know, in the judiciary, you know, the judges who wouldn't step down when they should have. I mean, there's this selfishness that's built into it, and I think it's something that they mentioned in this book as well. The idea, again, this is a similarity between the Americans and the Chinese, is that there's this, you know, whereas one is sort of a more sort of like, you know, a feeling of right to your freedom, or selfishness, as I think it's being mistaken for right now. I think freedom is being mistaken for I think selfishness is being mistaken for freedom now in the States right now. Whereas in China, there's this sort of this fierce need to look after, to succeed, either to succeed in order to climb up within the party, or to make yourself, you know, a living wage, look after the family, and also stay out of trouble. So I think there's another interesting sort of similarity for completely different reasons there as well. So, but yeah, the political stuff is really frustrating. I feel like I'm sick and tired of. I don't want to be ruled by lawyers anymore. I think, you know, again, I'd like engineers with empathy would be the perfect thing, I think. But now a few words on leadership. If you like a leadership thing, by the way, I have a T-shirt you should check out. If you go to techbandits.org, I have a little shop there, merch, and I have a leadership shirt that I put together because I found it kind of amusing to walk around with a picture of myself on my T-shirt that said leadership. What do I think about India? It's funny. I'm quite. What is it called? Are you bullish? Is it bullish mean that you're? I can never always get them mixed up. Bullish, like I'm thundering ahead. I feel very, very positive about India. I mean, some of the most intelligent, hardworking, family-oriented, empathetic, resourceful people that I've met. I mean, you know, there's a huge Indian population in Toronto, and I'm always impressed. Like I to the point where literally I actually did some of these, and I'm not giving investing advice here. I don't, you know, it's all freaking gambling to me. But I actually invested in an Indian index fund because I know there's a lot of political turmoil there. I know there's a lot of issues there. But, you know, honestly, at this point, where the hell isn't there? I mean, you know, America, come on. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Canada, I guess maybe is a little better, but even then, we're just at the whims of a you know, a wannabe king. I mean, you know, that guy just throws tariffs at us, and we're like, oh crap, there goes our steel industry. So, yeah. So yeah, I have great hope for India. You know, education is so important there, and it's so yeah, it's sort of palpable, this excitement about being about making something of yourself and getting somewhere, and just so many. They're saying that statistically, like it's like every other doctor is going to be Indian in the next whatever it is. I have to find that statistic because it was fascinating to me. The idea that there's a country that is so intent on educating its children and getting them out there. It's extraordinary. I feel very, very, very good about that. David should be in charge of everything. Oh God, please no. Wholesome Vampire is a really bad. Just ask my wife. It's not a good idea at all. I got ideas. I'm not so good at the actually putting them into action. TOS is so good. I love it. TOS. What's TOS? Should I know what TOS is? Terms of service is the only thing I can think of. Tech Talk. It was Tech Talk. Very good. Well, welcome, Car Wash. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're still visiting the car washes. So we have two extreme sounds. Like we need a middle ground. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what middle ground is anymore, though, right? I mean, when you're so far, when the right is so far out of whack, and the left just seems to be completely confused. I don't know that there is I don't think we are looking for a middle. I think we may be looking for something completely different. And now for something completely different. I really do. I feel like, I'm not saying wheel out the guillotines or anything, but I just think we need some radical change in the way this, these governments work. I mean, like, it's these. They're sort of fair weather politicians. They're like, who don't know how to truly. They know how to campaign and they know how to get into power. They don't know how to, quote unquote, rule. I guess rule is the wrong word, or serve would be a better way of putting it, right? In fact, they look at it like ruling, not serving. And I think there's so much onus put on getting voted in every 4 years, whatever it is, that there's. Once you get there, it's all about how do you get back in again before, it reminds me a little bit of actors. Actors get a job and then they immediately start looking for what their next job is. And it's always something really frustrating because I always like, I want to enjoy the job I've got. I get a job. I'm excited about that. I want to work on it. I want to do it. It always sort of pisses me off that, I'll get on set and there's people doing their lines because they were learning, because they were, auditioning for other parts at lunch and stuff. You're like, what? Just work on the job you've got. Anyways, I mean, now that said, I've been young and busy too. So I'm probably just sour grapes that I haven't got more to do. But no, I like having one job at a time. And I think that part of the problems with politics now is that it's all about just getting voted in, and after that, it doesn't matter. And I don't think they have plans. I think they only know how to basically be, try to be popular. That's it, and I think people need to be smart. I feel like a little more engineering would be a little more engineering than lawyers. How's that? Love solar. Yeah, solar's ridiculous. I can't, I just don't understand why, the entire of California isn't run on solar. I mean, you could probably get away with most of it up here as well. It's extraordinary to me that it's not more pervasive. I was just listening to a Hank Green, is it Hank Green? I think it was Hank Green. I never get them confused, the Green brothers. Talking about electric vehicles, the extended range electric vehicles, and how, the F-150 Lightning failed because they were basically, trying to convert their truck-loving, freedom-loving customers into EV-friendly people. And the reality is that the truck, it didn't satisfy the needs of the people who the F-150 appealed to. And also he was talking about how it was just also badly designed. The physics of it doesn't make any sense. That he really likes these extended range EVOLs, electric vehicles, because they're basically a electric motor and batteries and then a little gas generator. So the gas never runs the car. It only ever charges the battery and runs the motor. So it's a much simpler system. You still have to do oil changes and that kind of stuff, but it's just a fascinating take on these things. I would, we're sort of toying with a vehicle of some sort now. We borrowed my my lovely stepmom is not feeling very well right now, and so she doesn't need her car, and we borrowed it, and we sort of just had it, been using it for a while, and it's just kind of nice to be able to sort of get around without having to worry about the subway. And the subway is becoming less and less reliable, it seems here, where it just I feel like there's a delay every time I get on the damn thing. I'm sure it's not the case, but it sure feels that way. Can we see your ZPM coffee mug? I don't think I've got it up here. I can't drink coffee now. What are you, crazy? Andy, I drink coffee now. I'll be up all night. It's nuts. Crazy talk. Well, go to techbandits.org. Go to techbandits.org, hit the shop. And there's you can find the ZPM mug there. And I'm also working on a new one, so which is a nice big one, the nice big one. Oh, is that the one you're talking about, the big one? Yeah, I'm trying to make a version of that works. It's funny. I've got a bunch of plans for that too. So see, again, that's why you don't put me in charge. I'm really good at making plans. So what do they say? Plans without action, dreams. What do we got here? Building the freeway over a historic neighborhood. Pretty normal TV show story. Yeah, this is what China could do that we can't. So of course they have infrastructure everywhere. Of course they have, high-speed rails and all this kind of stuff. I mean, look how long it's taken to put the HST in place in England. I mean, just the number of hoops they have to leap through to make that happen is crazy. But at the same time, if it's your farm that's going to get churned up for it, come on. I mean, in Toronto, they basically just told people who were on the line of these new subway lines that they had to sell up. I don't know how that works exactly. I guess they just have some kind of right of way, or I don't know. I'd be very curious to know what the legality is and how that works. So, McKay, you gonna be the next Stargate? I freaking hope so. I really do. PWHV. I would very, very much like to. I've told Garrow, evil McKay, just like, even if it's just like throw an evil McKay in there. But nuclear power is cleaner than anything else. It's literally just a steam boiler. VSMD propulsion and hello, by the way. I am a fan of nuclear energy. I think that it does make sense. I mean, I know people worry about the safety and the polluting elements of it, but the reality is, look at the safety and the polluting elements of the oil and gas industry. I mean, it's horrendous what they've done. Which maybe it doesn't have the same kind of half-life, but my God, it's done some terrible, terrible damage and continues to, right? So I hope China is a much bigger adversary and player in the new Stargate show. Ooh, that could be cool. It's a good point, Golden Age. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to consider, because it really has, it used to be Russia, wasn't it? When Stargate first started, it was all Russia. And now, I guess China would be, I mean, God, could you imagine? I mean, how is it going to deal with politics? Like, what would Trump do to the Stargate program? You know what I mean? Like, how would that work? I'd love people's thoughts on that. We love you, David. You're an epic human. Phoenix Sterling, thank you very much. I'm an epically sweaty human, I think is what Phoenix meant. I liked how Russia and China geopolitics was in SG1. Yeah. I mean, but it was definitely seemed to side more towards Russia than China, didn't it? I mean, I haven't, you guys probably know this stuff more than I do at this point. I need to rewatch One Piece. Yeah, good luck. That's another lifetime right there. So I can catch up with the new stuff. It has been a while. It will probably use One Pace website. Oh, you're using One Pace. I just learned about this guy. So One Pace is I'll have to put that on my, I created this little One Piece website just to goof around, because I'm just sort of, I don't know, I feel like a kid. And I've been playing with some AI stuff and AI coding and stuff. And so if you want to check out devilfruitsupernova.com, devilfruitsupernova.com. That's a website I've been working on. I'll add the One Pace website to it, because One Pace basically is, it's taken out all of the filler. That's the idea. So basically, there's a lot of silly little things that if you just want to know the storyline. And it's almost like they're like Cliff Notes. They're like an AI. It's not AI, but it's a summary of the. It's not a summary. Summary is the wrong word. It's just basically just the plot. So it's easier to get through, faster. Although I must say, I've been reading the old manga, and it is kind of nice to sort of revel in it. Although I will say, it's not something I can read for extended periods of time. It does get a bit repetitive for me. I love all the different characters. Like, I freaking love it. And every so often there's sort of like really fun dynamics and stuff, but there is a similarity to a lot of it that gets a little much sometimes. And I think the idea of removing the fluff and just going with the one pace would be really good. So it's One Piece, but they call it One Pace because they've taken out all the stuff. So I'll have to check that out. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for reminding me about that. Oh, love my performance in C. Oh, fantastic. Hey. Oh, I'm so happy you saw that. I don't know how many people did, but I had so much fun doing that. I just absolutely loved it. Even the prosthetics, which normally I hate prosthetics, but it was just so much fun. Wonderful prosthetics bunch that put it together for me. I think I've got, do I have it up somewhere? No, it's up. It's in the garage. Yeah, it's just, it's fantastic. Just a fantastic show. Absolutely loved it. And working with Jason again, of course, Jason. Now that he's big and famous, it was really fun. It would take an external threat, alien, for the world to actually work together instead of worrying about IP and governmental power. Yeah, Brandon Flood, it's Plude. Yeah, I mean, look, it's funny. Like, we talked about the environment, and people were saying, like, what do you want us to do? We can't just shut down the world. And of course, when COVID hit, that's exactly what we did. And I think potentially, from what I understand from the science, it's just as much of a threat, if not more, than COVID was. So, oh, la-di-da, Mr. Universal Healthcare. Yeah, there you go. Well, see, even that, though, Feral Terminator, I'll tell you, there are good and bad to that as well. I think we've got a government that is very good at marketing itself as a healthcare friendly, as Canada being a healthcare friendly place. The reality is there's a lot of stuff that they don't cover, and they don't tell people. They just don't cover it. There's a shortage of doctors. There's a shortage of beds. We're not spending the kind of money we should be on it. And there's a thing that you get into with medicine, which I think people forget or don't realize. The engineer brain happening on this stuff is the bit of an issue there. Healthcare doesn't fall into little checks and boxes. It's very, very difficult to go to try to diagnose someone and then check the right boxes so they get the right tests. Because you end up either over testing or under testing. And if there isn't a very clear path through all of the bureaucracy, a lot of times stuff just doesn't get seen. So, and also you got to keep in mind that Canada, again, I've been very, very lucky with it, and my lovely stepmom is being looked after very, very well right now by the system. And it's not bankrupting her, and it's not bankrupting my father, which is the difference. I mean, really, but there are definitely issues. It's a giant HMO, right? So, there's only a certain amount of money, and if someone doesn't think that this part of medicine is important, then it doesn't get covered. I mean, the perfect example is like, if I were to get shingles, I would cost the healthcare system a huge amount of money because I'd be back and forth to the doctor. I'd be getting all sorts of stuff done. So I took the vaccination. They don't cover the vaccination. Vaccination I have to pay for myself, and it's expensive. So basically, anyone with shingles doesn't have the money to pay for it. That's the issue. So so the privilege that I have, in order for us to avoid having a two-tier healthcare system, which it seems to me we already have, if I'm paying $300 to get a jab that someone else can't afford, and I don't get shingles because of it, and they do, and yet they're probably going to cost the healthcare system more than that $300 because they're because of the kind of pressure on the system of someone who's that ill. So it doesn't seem particularly well thought out. That said, I wouldn't hand it over to the government to a corporation either, because we see how well they treat people. Insurance companies and stuff. So, anyways, all right. I can feel myself chilling out now. I'm beginning to get that slight chill as I cool down from my horrible exercise. Some of my favorite Stargate episodes are the more Trek-like ones, like Daedalus Variations. I always enjoyed Star Trek myself. So, vaccines should be included for everything we could prevent. Yeah, absolutely. I know, I absolutely agree. I mean, and again, I don't know when we politicized this either. It's something that's crazy. Oh, I had shingles twice before age 45. They won't cover it for me either. Oh, grave lady, that's awful. Once you've had it, can you get the vaccine after you've had it? Is there any point? I mean, I think it's 80%. I think it's something like 80% effective, but I'll take that. Like, I mean, yeah, that's, and they've also just, I think it was James Jordan was telling me they just started in England to do, is it England, or maybe he was talking about Atlanta actually, where they're starting to do chickenpox vaccinations as well. So you only have a beanie, so it's probably worse today. It's true. Without my little hat on, you are a lazy man. Pedal harder. Pedal up the ziggurat. It's not pedaling. It's rowing, my friend. I'm on the erg, as they call it. It's this Concept 2 thing that I bought, which my son says was a what do you call it? He said it was an impulse buy. It wasn't. I did research, and then I bought it, and I've been sticking with this for a while now. I like a little downtime now and again, but it's keeping me busy, and I like I must say I like this as my reward. So, all right, I better get here. I gotta go hang out with my family while I can. So until we geek again, I will ask you to go to techbandits.org. Go, get out of here. Go, bye. Go get over to techbandits.org. Sign up for my email of awesome awesomeness, which I'm working on now. I'm not sure when it'll be out, but it's coming. It's some fun stuff, including some time stuff. Timey-wimey. And it's just science and tech stuff that I love, and I'll give you some updates on what's happening for me as well. And then, of course, I've got the merch stuff. If you want to get your leadership T-shirt, that's the place to do it, techbandits.org. Or there's Patreon. If you want to be a Patreon, that'd be amazing too. So anything you got, that would be much appreciated. And I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday, and you're still continuing to have a wonderful holiday, and that the new year brings great things for you. Not sure if I'll be, tomorrow's the 30th. I guess I probably will have to exercise tomorrow. Damn it. I could take the 31st off though, can't I? Does that count? Although you could bring the new year in with exercise. It's amazing how I can talk myself out of whatever I was saying by the end of a sentence. All right, everybody, till we geek again. Cheerio. Be brave, be kind, be brilliant. Cheerio, and huzzah. Oh, and dinner's ready when I am. Perfect timing. Bye, everybody. I'm going to eat. I'm going to undo all the exercise I've done.